and see how we can get this down to zero. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to zero. That's back from high school algebra. But let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But there, stop. If we do a real good job on vaccines, reproductive health care, we could lower the amount of population in the world by 10 to 15%. That's what the man said. New vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But there we see, shouldn't healthcare services and vaccines be encouraging human life and flourishing? Isn't that the point? What the hell's wrong with you? Increase of about 1.3.
I expect that by the time nanorobots are deployed, which will be sometime perhaps in the 2020s or the 2030s, we will have a whole set of laws in place, regulations. There will be things you can and cannot do.
The laws were never put in place, but the technology was patented and deployed to billions of people without their knowledge in 2020. We know this because several independent labs have confirmed the presence of this nanotechnology in the COVID vaccines. And Bill Gates recently admitted to this as well.
Making the mRNA is really easy and really cheap, and that's the magic of this thing. But there's no doubt in the next 5 years, we can, we just need to mess around. There's a lot of lipid nanoparticles, and some are very self-assembling.
Self-assembly and self-replication seem to be the same technology when it comes to nanorobots. And this was considered to be the greatest danger involved with the use of this technology.
Self-replication causes disease. Nanorobots are inherently much stronger than biological systems being built of diamondoids. So if they self-replicate, that disease, quote unquote, could be even a tougher problem than biological disease.
If the nanorobots are able to replicate inside the human body, that means they are using some component of the human body as food, and we don't want them to be doing that.
In his
and colleagues showed in a human hepatoma cell line, a cancerous cell line of immortal cells, that the Pfizer genetic code, at least that center 444 base pair amplicon, is taken up into the human genome within about an hour. Now, experts say if the middle part is taken up, almost certainly the whole thing is. What does this mean? It's possible that the Pfizer and Moderna genetic code is permanently installed into the human genome.
Claims.
Claims about what?
You and everyone you know has a piece of DNA in your genome, put there without your knowing it.
Put there by whom?
Well, that's the question of the day.
This is an internet lunatic. You're not saying you believe him.
Just hold on, Agent Einstein. You're talking to a scientist.
Forgive me, Assistant Director. It may sound insensitive, but the suggestion is pure science fiction.
What I'm saying, Agent Einstein, is that the facts, as I understand them, cannot be discounted out of hand.
No one has the right or the ability to tamper with your DNA.
Unless we gave them that ability.
You say they're tampering with our DNA, that they're able to shut down our immune systems by the addition of something to our DNA.
Yes, but I don't know how exactly.
Or how it's being triggered.
I don't know that either.
Or why it's happening now. What can we possibly do?
We need to act quickly.
You were right about that.
Well, I was wrong about the science. I was wrong about what's causing it. Dead wrong, in fact.
But it's clearly a widespread failure of our immune systems.
Through gene tampering. A virus within a virus that was put there through the smallpox vaccine. It's what these men are calling the Spartan virus.
We have to figure this out. What's wrong with the science?
Okay. The Spartan virus removes the adenosine deaminase gene from your DNA. Remove the ADA gene and your immune system will simply vanish.
Yeah, but I'm not getting sick.
It's only a matter of time.
Okay. So how does it work? How does the virus remove the ADA gene?
A process called CRISPR-Cas.
CRISPR-Cas9. RNA and a protein cutting genes at exact locations.
Exactly, but in this instance used as a weapon.
The ultimate weapon. The ability to depopulate the planet. To kill everyone but the chosen. By tampering with their DNA.
Through gene editing.
Why do such a thing and lie about it? Our own government.
Your own government lies as a matter of course, as a matter of policy. The Tuskegee experiments on black men in the 30s, Henrietta Lacks.
What are they trying to do?
That's the missing piece.
But it's not hard to imagine a government hiding, hoarding technology for 70 years at the expense of human life and the future of the planet. Driven not only by corporate greed, but a darker objective.
The takeover of America.
And then the world itself, by any means necessary, however violent, or cruel, or efficient. By severe drought, brought on by weather wars, conducted secretly using aerial contaminants and high-altitude electromagnetic waves. In a state of perpetual war. To create problem, reaction, solution scenarios to distract, enrage, and enslave American citizens at home. With tools like the Patriot Act and the National Defense Authorization Act, which abridge the Constitution in the name of national security. The militarization of police forces in cities across the U.S., the building of prison camps by the Federal Emergency Management Agency with no stated purpose, the corporate takeover of food and agriculture, pharmaceuticals and healthcare, even the military in clandestine agendas to fatten, dull, sicken, and control a populace already consumed by consumerism.
And I encourage you all to go shopping more.
A government that taps your phone, collects your data, and monitors your whereabouts with impunity. A government preparing to use that data against you when it strikes. And the final takeover begins.
The takeover of America.
By a well-oiled and well-armed multinational group of elites that will cull, kill, and subjugate.
Happening as we sit here.
It's happening all around us.
The other shoe waiting to drop.
It'll probably start on a Friday. The banks will announce a security action necessitating their computers to go offline all weekend.
Digital money will disappear.
They can just steal your money?
Followed by the detonation of strategic electromagnetic pulse bombs to knock out major grids.
What will seem like an attack on America by terrorists or Russia.
An invasion of the U.S.
The Russians tried it in 47.
Can anyone explain to me why our military is here when the invasion is here? Oh wait, I know why. Because the military-industrial complex and the CIA are in on the plan to destroy America. Why? So that they can implement this new world order. Isn't that fun?
China's hackers are positioning on American infrastructure in preparation to wreak havoc and cause real-world harm to American citizens.
You know, I try to keep this channel lighthearted, but I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't give you a warning. We have Chinese, Iranian, and fucking Russian hackers actively targeting civilian infrastructure. That's your cell towers, electrical grid, banking system, water purification. We have known terrorists coming up through the fucking southern border. We have an international world war. We have a local fucking civil war going on. Life as we know it is about to change. You need to take out cash every month. If the banking system goes down, the grid goes down, you have no access to your money. That cash is only going to be good for maybe 6 months, and you're going to have to go back to the old school trade and barter system. Stock up on ammunition, weapons, medical supplies, pain management supplies, learn how to do water purification, fortification of your environment, tactical training, medical training, because one day when this shit goes down in the very fucking imminent future, somebody like me, if you stock up on food and shit, somebody like me is going to kick down your fucking door, kill your family, take all your shit because I got to provide for mine. This is not a joke. I'm not joking. If you think I am, you've already lost.
PRC hackers are targeting our critical infrastructure, our water treatment plants, electrical grid, oil and natural gas pipeline, transportation systems.
SUVs dropped off dozens of migrants who illegally breezed right through a border wall. There were more than 1,300 Border Patrol apprehensions in the San Diego sector yesterday alone. 1,100 were single adults, with more than 160 from China and 120 from Vietnam.
A dirty little secret is that many of those algorithms have been so trained that the AI itself now spots American flags that are on someone's profile. So if you're somebody who has an American flag in your social media profile, the algorithms are already trained to pay greater scrutiny to what you say.
Are you serious?
I'm not joking about this. And it's not a human being that made that judgment. It's the AI that itself has been trained to say that these are the kinds of people who need to actually be silenced and suppressed.
Let's just say the power grid goes out. Okay? Yeah. I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
I know.
I just don't know when it's going to happen. Meaning, is it going to be in 2024 during election year? Because they're scared shitless that Trump could actually win. Is it going to be next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? I believe it's going to happen. You best just do whatever you can to be ready for it. Some people are maybe saying, well, I don't have the kind of money. You guys got the money and da-da-da-da. This isn't about money. There's ways of preparing in different ways based on the kind of resources you got. Protect your family. How do you do it? You have to do a little bit of research, a little bit of studying for yourself to find out if that were to happen. Do you have a small generator? Do you have certain things set aside? What method of payment will you use if you don't have any cash, or if you don't have, what other things do you have to protect your family? I do believe it is something worth talking about with your family to be prepared for this, because I think something like this is going to happen next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And by the way, I do believe it's going to be worse than COVID, because at least with COVID, you can stay home, still communicate with others. With this, you stay home. Your internet, security, gate, lights, it's mayhem. Everything's gone. So what do? You just got to be prepared for it.
A prophetic warning. God gave me this vision a couple weeks ago on the first day of my fast, and he's just now released me to release the word to you today. God has showed me that we are about to experience nationwide power outages within this country. Machines will not work. Your cars will not work. You will not be able to access your money. You will not be able to get food. So you need to begin stockpiling your food. You need to begin preserving your fruits and your vegetables. Stock up on batteries. Stock up on necessary items. Stock up on your toiletries. Anything that you need to live and survive for up to 3 months, begin stocking up on it now. This is not in correlation to the eclipse. I don't know when this is going to happen, but God has just now released me to release it to you today. So I'm being obedient to him by doing so. Go ahead and make sure that your families are safe, that you have a proper escape plan, that you have proper escape routes. The Lord is telling me right now. Make sure that you guys have a plan in place as a family, collectively. If this happens while you guys are away from home, if this happens while you are away from your children, what is your plan? He showed me also in the spirit where cars will not work, and not just electric cars, but any car that has a computer system in it will not work. He showed me this in the spirit. He showed me that we will have nationwide food shortages.
We are not dealing, at least not exclusively, with an intangible interdimensional presence that has for centuries been seeking to subtly influence human affairs. Something along these lines could be happening. It's a fascinating issue. But our military is encountering intelligently controlled, solid objects invading restricted military airspace, sometimes flying in formation. In many cases, they're emitting radiation in the 1 to 3 and 8 to 12 gigahertz range. Multiple credible reports indicate these objects have rendered segments of our nuclear deterrent inoperable. In other recent cases, they're jamming radars on fighter aircraft. We also have multiple cases of near mid-air collisions and other cases involving serious injuries to military and civilian personnel. Indeed, this is an area of research for Dr. Nolan and the Soul Foundation. I'm here to support Gary's and Peter's efforts to advance the scientific study of UAP, but I also recognize that as much as it might like to, we can't let the government divest itself of this issue.
I can't believe I sat through a school safety meeting today, and we went over alien invasion protocols, procedures. What to do if there's an alien invasion. Our county really gave us procedures for that. And honestly, I did not process anything that was said during that part of the presentation because I could not believe what I was looking at. Like, anybody else out there get alien invasion protocols? What to do with your students if there's an alien invasion? Just mine?
What we think is the most likely thing that's going to occur at this point before we see any kind of a mass landing or a mass event is something called the Contingency 39C. And a Contingency 39C is a vehicle that comes down into a major metropolitan area in such a way that you can't shut it down because everyone's pulling out their phones and streaming it instantly, and the news people are there instantly. I would say that it was lucky in some ways that the Miami Police Department was actually able to lock this down with the presence and the show up that they did. But we're this close before we get an incident where they're not going to be able to lock it down. They're not going to be able to shut it up. They're not going to be able to make it quiet, and it's going to get everywhere. And then the genie's out of the bottle for sure. And then everything's going to change at that moment for sure. And if that doesn't happen first, then we're still approaching a mass landing event sometime soon.
You believe in UFOs, alien life?
No, I don't believe in alien life. I believe that God showed me a specific answer to two prayers, that they're demonic. And that they're demonic beings that make an appearance and appear to be real, and they are real. Satan, Bible says, Satan can appear as an angel of light. So they can appear, and so nothing human can make a 90-degree turn at 3,000 miles an hour and survive. And so they have these, and I think the purpose is to draw you away from the real God and say, look at us, and this is where you ought to be because we are superhuman and we can do it. So that's my feeling. People laugh at me generally, but I'm not going to be. I don't care. Because,
I love you. I love you.
Yeah, God He's answered prayers, my prayers specifically. And so I said, and I get laughed at when people say, well, that's what God told me, so I'm going to say that they're demonic beings, and there's not any extraterrestrial, not superhuman, but other civilizations out there that are farther away from us. It's a distraction from God.
So apparently aliens don't like Jesus. Check it out.
There's over 400 cases where these abductions have been halted by people calling on the name of Jesus Christ. And in the movie, we have the testimonies of these people who were having these experiences. They were terrified, and in the moment of terror, they recalled or called out to their childhood memories of who Jesus was. And the instant his name was called, it stopped.
So why do these aliens respond to Jesus?
Exactly. Exactly. And that indicates the spiritual nature of what is going on. So the evidence is spiritual. And then when we get to the level of abductions, deceptive messages are being given to people. But then when they're halted in the name of Jesus, that is incredibly powerful. And again, when I'm saying that we've now got hundreds of testimonies, I know people in the higher levels of UFO investigations that actually readily acknowledge this. What is it about Jesus that these aliens don't like?
This is a multifaceted, 1,000-prong attack, economic, cultural, biomedical, hitting us from so many angles, but it's all been prepared and blueprinted and wargamed by the Rockefeller Foundation, by the Carnegie Endowment, by the United Nations, by Johns Hopkins, and that's how we know all this. You can go read Operation Lockstep from 2011. You can read SPARS 2025, 2028, and they have the next 3 years laid out. Really, it's set in 2020, 2023. How they give you the shot, people then learn it doesn't work. Then they'll actually blame some of the executives, but they'll move forward. Now that our immune systems are controlled, they'll bring in the real tyranny. We'll wear a mask. There'll be forced inoculations. There'll be a World ID vaccine card that'll be used through the cell phones to be the backbone for the new carbon tax and the social credit score and the universal basic income that's coming with the collapse. Serious adverse effects from COVID vaccine, very high. No other vaccine comes close, says former CDC Vaccine Safety Committee member.